It's our very deep honor to welcome you to the Circle of Friends, and we're so excited and delighted to have a series of talks with you. So feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh,
First of all, I say Jai Baba to all of you. Jai Baba to all of you.
Jai Baba.
And
Jai
I
Baba.
express
Jai Baba.
to all of you that who have organized this program, and particularly the organizers. I am very grateful to you. And now
Uh-oh. Picture froze.
Jai Baba. So first of all, I would like to know what you would like to hear. Hello?
Yes, well, we would love stories.
Oh, Baba stories. Oh, so if you want to hear Baba stories, then we'll have to go back in time. And the earliest stories that I remember about Baba I go back in 1939 when I was a small child. Because as you all know, both of my parents were Baba lovers. My father Ramchandra Gadekar, who was a member of the Mandali, though he was not staying with Baba, but there were some people whom Baba had given specific instructions, and they were staying outside in their own families and obeying Baba's orders and instructions. So these people were described as non-resident Mandli. And those who lived with Baba, like Iraj and Pendu and Padri and Adi Senior, they were called as uh, the resident Mandli. And those who were living outside the city of Ahmednagar and following Baba's instructions, people like in Solapur or Pune or Bombay or other places, Madras, they were the non-resident Mandli. So my father was a member of the non-resident Mandli, and therefore uh, Baba was very kind to visit our house many times. So now I would like to know what you would like to hear.
Well, certainly your background, your child, how you got to know about Baba. Of course, you were in a Baba family, but we want to know everything. I mean, everything.
Everything. Okay, then let me recollect. You see, if you want to know everything, then you have to go back in time. As I said, you have to go back to my father. You have to go back to my grandfather. Actually, the link starts from my grandfather, who came in Baba's contact way back before Baba started this silence. And that was probably in the year 1923 or 24. That is when my grandfather came in Baba's contact, and my father also came in Baba's contact around the same period. So probably my father heard Baba speak. My father and my grandfather, they heard Baba speak. And then, as you all know, Baba started observing silence from 10th of July 1925, and then those people who were the followers of Baba continued to follow Baba and continued to remain in Baba's fold. And my father was one of them. Though he was not residing with Baba, but he was with the family because Baba has asked him that you remain in the family, you do your job, you devote your time to your job and do your job conscientiously and honestly. And at the same time, you remember me and obey me. So such people were called as the non-resident Mandli. And my father was one of them. Another person was Dr. Deshmukh and Dhakefal. And those people who were staying with Baba or residing with Baba, they were the resident Mandli. And among them, you all know the male members were Padri and Pendu and Iraj. And female members were Mehra and Mani and Gaver and Naja. So those were the days. So the contact goes back to my grandfather, which was passed on to my father. And actually, my father came in Baba's contact when he was going in the school. And during those days, uh, probably 1924 or 1923, Baba used to give darshan in Mehrabad. And because this Dharmashala structure was constructed around 1923, and Baba, when Baba left Bombay from Manzile Mim, and he started staying in that structure, that barrack structure, which was occupied by the British soldiers during the World War II. So that was the Dharmashala, and that structure still stands. All of you must have seen that structure. So he came in contact around that period, and then after he came in contact, then gradually he started following Baba's instructions, and he surrendered to Baba totally. Totally, he surrendered. That was my father, and he began his life as a Baba's devotee since his days in the school, as I said, and then. Under Baba's guidance, my father received education, and Baba encouraged him to pursue his education because he was coming from a very poor family, economic family. Their condition was not very strong, but they were not very rich people, my father's family. And they were residing in Ahmednagar. So Baba helped them. And Baba also, at one point of time, Baba also paid the fees of my father in the school. So he was instrumental in encouraging my father to pursue his studies. And thereafter, he completed his studies. And for his higher studies, he came to Pune and joined the Ferguson College. And after his graduation from Ferguson College, he was offered a job in the government after his graduation. And during that job also, and that job started probably in 1900 and in 1900 and around 1930 or so, and thereafter he was totally devoted to Baba. Then he joined the services and he was posted at different places, but mainly he stayed in Solapur, and the stay in Solapur was for a long period from 1930 to 1947. And during that period, Baba contact also increased, and he used to visit Baba very frequently. He was a teacher first of in the initial stages. He was a teacher in a technical high school in Solapur, and there, with Baba's encouragement, he tried for a scholarship to go abroad, and with Baba's grace, he received the scholarship from the government of Bombay. At that time, it was a British rule, and the government of Bombay, they granted him the scholarship to go abroad. And he had got admission in Scotland in University of Edinburgh, and with Baba's grace, he went to Scotland. And that was in the year 1938. And before that, 1936, he had already married. And by the time he had gone to Scotland, we were born, my elder sister and myself. And when the day came to go to Scotland, so the family came to Bombay to see him off, because those days there were no aircraft. One has to go to foreign countries on the ship, and the ship would sail from Bombay. So the family went to Bombay. And then when the family went to Bombay and reached the docks, then my father said that, do you want to see the ship and how is the arrangement on the ship? And my mother said, yes, come on. Yes, I would love to do that. So he took the family on the ship, and he showed the ship, showed the family the ship, around the ship, the deck and the cabins where the wealthy people live, and the deck where the people who are not so wealthy, they live, and all these places. He showed to my mother. And then he said, do you like to see one cabin? How people live in the cabin? My mother said, yes, I would love to. So he caught the hand of my mother and took him to that cabin, to one cabin on the ship. And when she entered that cabin, what did my mother see? Meher Baba was inside that cabin. Meher Baba was traveling to the west on the same ship. And it was the same ship in which my father was also traveling to Scotland for further studies in the University of Edinburgh. So my father had known that Baba is there. But Baba had instructed my father not to tell his wife, that means my mother, that Baba is also in that ship. So see how the master works. And all the time my mother was complaining that you are going to foreign country and you do not know how things are there, and there you do not know how to dress properly. You will have to wear suit and tie and all that, and people are so formal. And she was so much worried that you are going to England and Scotland, and all the ladies in England and Scotland, they are very fair. And then if you fall in love with some lady there, then I will be doomed. That is why what my mother would complain. And I have these small kids. What will I do with the kids? So my father said, don't worry, you come along with me to the ship. And when she entered the cabin, then my mother saw Meher Baba is there. Because Baba had already told my mother that don't worry, Gunatai, when Gadekar goes to Scotland, my nazar will be on him. So when she entered the cabin and saw Baba inside the cabin, Baba repeated again. And Baba told my mother, and he asked my mother that, Gunatai, did I not tell you that I shall keep my nazar on him? So I am traveling in the same ship when he is going to in the ship in which he is going to Scotland. So my mother was consoled and she was comforted. And then she said that now I am convinced that nothing is going to happen. So he and she went home satisfied. And then he went to Scotland. And there he studied. He joined the University of Edinburgh and completed his course in education. He got a diploma in education at that time, 1938. And then he returned with a diploma and he joined his services. He was a teacher working in Solapur, in a technical school in Solapur. So when he returned with higher qualification, he was appointed as an officer. He was appointed as an educational officer and he was put in charge of this entire Solapur district. And that happened around 1940 or 41. So by that time he had strongly come in Baba's fold. And though he was appointed as an officer in the education department, and in that capacity he was required to visit the different schools in the villages and the towns around Solapur and inspect them and see that they are working properly, because that was his job. He was the education inspector. So whenever he would visit any school, what he would do, he would call a meeting of all the teachers in the school. And then he would inquire about the school. And then while inquiring about the school and inquiring about the progress of the school and the progress of the teachers, my father would casually broach the subject of Meher Baba. And then he would tell something about Meher Baba. And after the meeting is over, if anybody is interested, that teacher would contact my father and would request him and to tell more about Meher Baba. So it so happened that when he had gone to a school in a small village in Solapur district, that was Kurdavadi village, one teacher, after the meeting, he met my father and he requested him that, Gadekar Sahib, I have got one request. I want to know more about Meher Baba. Oh, you want to know more about Meher Baba? Very good, very good. Please sit down, please sit down. And he told about Meher. Now, my father, though he was educated in Scotland, though he was a gazetted officer in the education department, he would be so simple and so humble. So even though he would be wearing full suit and the topi, British topi, hat, top hat, pith hat, and he would sit on the ground with crossed legs with that hat and with that suit. He would not bother at all about the surroundings, and he would tell about Baba. So from place to place in Solapur district, wherever he went, after the school inspection, he would broach the topic of Meher Baba. And if anybody would show interest, he would tell about it. So one teacher got so much interested. He said that, I want to know more about Meher Baba. Is there any book available of Meher Baba? Then my father said he used to carry a briefcase in which he would carry Baba's books. He said, here's a book of Meher Baba. And he gave it to the teacher to read. The teacher read that book. And after 2 days, the teacher said that, I want more books. So here are more books and you read about them. So the teacher read about the discourses and about Perfect Master and Baba stories and all. And that teacher developed so much interest in Baba. Then he says to my father that Gadekar Sahib, I have read so much about Baba and I have developed affection in my heart about Meher Baba. And I want to have darshan of Meher. How is it possible? Then my father said, very simple. You write a letter and post it. Write a letter to Meher Baba that Meher Baba, I want to come to Meherabad and have your darshan. And you write that letter and send it to him. So that teacher wrote that letter, and the teacher wrote that letter and put it in the. He was searching for the envelope in which to put that letter. My father says that here is an envelope. He picked up that envelope from his briefcase and gave it to the teacher. So the teacher folded the letter and put it in an envelope. And he was searching for the gum. Oh, where is the gum? My father says, here is the gum bottle. And he pasted the letter. And that said that the teacher said that I want to post this letter. No, give it to me. I will post it myself. So he took the letter and personally posted that letter in the red letter box. And that letter reached to Baba. And Baba was very happy to receive that letter. Because who was that teacher? That teacher was Balnathu. So in this way, Balnathu came in Baba's contact. And Balnathu later on, he became so much devoted and attached to Baba that he wrote books and books of Baba. So he was instrumental to bring Balnathu. Like that, whenever he would go, he was responsible for bringing so many people in Baba's fold. And that was my father. He never bothered about himself. Every hour of his day would be spent in Baba's memory or talking about Baba or telling stories about Baba. And he would sing also. And he had composed songs of Baba. So he would sing Baba's songs also. And one of the songs that he has composed is in Marathi. And I will sing that song for you. And the words of the song is Bare Meher Baba Kema Bhet Desh. The translation is, O Meher Baba, when shall I be able to meet you? Bare Meher Baba Kema Bhet Deshi Hui Kasa Vishi Jiyoman. That means, without meeting you, I am becoming restless and I am practically losing my breath in order to be able to meet you. Matsya vina jali taise hui. I am feeling in the same manner, same restless manner as a fish is out of water. So that was this composition, my father's composition. Bare Meher Baba Kema Bhet Deshi. And Madhusudan said the tune to this song of my father, and it goes something like this. Bare Meher Baba Kema Bhet Deshi, Bare Meher Baba केव्हा भेट देसी होई कासावीसी जीव माझा होई कासावीसी जीव माझा वारे निर्मळ केव्हा भेट देसी वारे निर्मळ. So such songs he composed, and these songs were in Marathi, very simple Marathi. For example, in this song, he prays to Meher Baba, "Oh Meher Baba, when I shall be able to meet you? Because I am feeling as restless as a fish out of water. And you are so magnanimous that when Draupadi was in distress and when she was being disrobed, you were so kind enough to provide saris to Draupadi. When Prahlad was thrown in the fire by his uncle for repeating God's name, you are the one who has saved Prahlad. So in the same manner, you come for my rescue and save me, and I am your servant." So like that song went on, and that was composed by my father. And in Guru Prasad, he used to sing this song before Baba, and Baba used to like this song very much, and that was around 1950s. So that was my father, and he obeyed Baba's instructions. And though he was a very high-ranking officer in the government of Bombay, he was very simple and very humble, as I said. And later on, he fell ill, and at the same time, I was studying in the college. I passed my examination, BSc examination. I passed in first class. MSc examination also I appeared, and after the examination, theory examination of MSc class in the year 1958, when Baba was in Guru Prasad, I went and visited Baba. And then Baba said that, "Digambar, you have appeared for MSc examination. How have you fared?" I said, "Baba, examination is going on still. I have written the theory papers. Now there is a gap between theory and practicals. About 2-3 weeks gap is there. And after 2-3 weeks, the practical examination will be held." Then Baba said to me that, "Digambar, please remember, you have to pass the examination in first class. If you do not pass the examination first class, then our friendship will be finished." Baba did this time. He held his fingers and he said, "Finished." And I felt so sad. And Baba said on further, "And if you do not pass the examination first class, I shall not see your face again." And when I heard that, my heart broke. And then this theory was over, and the practical examination was held. And then examination was over. And then I used to go to Baba in Guru Prasad, and Baba would inquire, "अरे तुम्हारे रिजल्ट का क्या हो गया? तुम्हारा रिजल्ट कब आने वाला है?" Then Baba said that I said that, "Baba, examination is just over. Result is expected after 2-3 weeks or so." So on that particular day, the result was declared. Now during those times, that was in 1958, the result of the Pune University, it would be printed in the newspaper, and the numbers would be printed, that these are the numbers who have passed. So on the day of result, I was in Guru Prasad with Baba, and that newspaper has arrived. And then Baba said that, "Show me, here is your result." And I said, "Baba, you please see yourself." Then Baba said, looked at the paper, he said, "What is your number?" So I told him, "Baba, this is my number." So Baba is going through the newspaper and see this is my number. And I am also looking at the paper. And my number I could not find out. So I started from bottom. So I said, probably first I thought that I may have flunked the exam. Then I said, all right, let me just try. So I started from the third division. So all the numbers I read, my number is not there. So I said that let me see probably in the second class I may have passed. So second class, all the numbers are there. My number is not there. So what is this going on? I said then with great difficulty, then let me try at least the first class. So first class, all the numbers are there. My number is not there. Where is number? My number gone. So During those days, what used to happen is all the students who top the examination in the university, their number will be printed on the top, name along with the name. So when I came at the top of the paper, then it was written there that Digambar Gadekar has passed the examination in the first class first, and he has topped in the university. And Baba said that. Baba was there. And then Baba was in Guru Prasad. And the result we learned here in the house. And Baba was not in Guru Prasad. Baba had left Guru Prasad. He was in Merazad. And so how to convey this news to Baba? So my father, he sent a telegram to Baba. In that telegram, what did he write? He wrote in the telegram that Digambar has passed MSc examination of Pune University in geology, standing first in the university. So this telegram was sent to Baba. Then Baba replied that telegram. And what did Baba write in that telegram? Baba had written in that telegram, I am very happy that Digambar has passed MSc examination in geology in first class, standing first in the university. And there was one more sentence. And what was that sentence? I hope that Digambar passes in third class in obeying me. That was Baba. Now what does it mean? It means that whatever success one may achieve in life, in the material life, in front of Baba, that is nil. And what is important is obeying Baba, surrendering to Baba, and loving Baba. So that is what Baba sent that message to me in that telegram, that I hope that Digambar passes in third class in obeying me. So that was one story I wanted to share with you. Any questions?
Yeah, Gadekar Kaka, 1 second. We have one question that is second from Judy. So just a minute, Judy will be this thing, because Judy has raised her hand.
Judy Robertson. Hi, Judy.
Yes. Hello, Jai Baba. I don't know if you remember me from India, and I'm so delighted that I spoke with you probably 15, 20 years ago about coming to America and sharing your stories about Baba. And today it is coming about in a way I could not have imagined. Nobody had invented Zoom at that time.
Oh, yes, you still remember?
Yes, I still remember. So I'm delighted that you're here with all of us. And
wonderful.
I have two questions. The first, perhaps my memory is not so good, but I think if I remember correctly, your father accompanied Baba on the New Life, did he not?
No, he did not accompany Baba to New Life, though he had volunteered to join Baba and accompany him on the New Life. But Baba said that some people Baba had instructed, those people though they had expressed their willingness, Baba instructed them to remain with their families and follow Baba's instructions and orders. So my father was one of them, and Dr. Sridhar Deshmukh was other person. So there were some persons like that who did not join Baba actually in the New Life, but lived with their families and followed Baba's instructions.
So could you share with us about how, your father and your whole family's life during the New Life, how that affected you personally and your father and anyone else in your family? That, Baba went off and said none of you would ever see him again, etc. And after the New Life, I want to ask you if you'd share some personal experiences of being with Baba, how that inner experience was for you in his presence. Those are my 2 requests.
Oh, 2 requests. So the first one, let us go one by one. So what
Yes.
is the first question?
Share with us your memories during the New Life period. How you said that Baba accepted your father as going on the New Life, but he was to stay
Yes, that is
family.
true.
And how different was that? Can you share some experiences that you remember?
Yes. As you know, Baba entered, before entering the New Life, Baba had held a meeting in Mehrabad and asked for the consent of the people. He had circulated the slips of paper on which people, Baba's close disciples, they had to write yes or yes and no. So, yes, I will join New Life. No, I will join Life. Like that. So my father, he was in service, and he was occupying very high post in the government as the education officer of the entire district. But he had written that yes. Then Baba said that I am very happy that you have expressed this your willingness to join me in the New Life, and written yes. But now I give instructions to you that you remain with your family, but you lead the life of the New Life. So he had given him some instructions that how to live, how to lead the New Life, even you are staying in the with your family. That is one of my memories. And during those periods, there is also, prior to that also, sometimes Baba would give instructions and one personal instructions to different people. And Baba had given, I recall, say, in the year around 1950 or so, Baba had given instructions to my father to observe silence for 1 month and seclusion for 1 month. Silence and seclusion. So my father was serving, so he took leave from the government, and we were staying in another locality in Pune. And there, my father locked himself in one room and he observed seclusion. And my mother would cook the food, and he would place the plate of the food in front of the closed door and tap on the door. And then she would go in another room. And then my father would open that door and take the food plate inside and eat. And after eating it, he would keep the plate outside, close the door, and again tap on the door. And then my mother would go and collect it. So that is how it went on. So this was for 1 month. And during that 1 month, he observed. Baba had given him particular instructions, which I do not know. Probably he might have given meditation, or I do not know that. So, but he was there. That I remember very distinctly. For 1 month period, he had taken leave from the office. And he observed that Baba's instruction of seclusion. And during around those period also, Baba maybe earlier or later, 1950 or so, maybe 1950 or 52, Baba gave him instructions. Baba gave personal instructions to observe silence for 1 month. So my father took leave for 1 month, and he remained at home and observed silence for 1 month. Baba had said that those people whom I give personal instructions to observe silence, it has got some spiritual meaning, and it is in order to help me in my own universal spiritual. So when my father was observing silence for 1 month, my mother, being a very faithful wife, she decided that because my husband is observing silence for 1 month, I will also join him. So she also observed silence for 1 month. So both the parents were silent for 1 month. And my elder sister Nalini and myself, we discussed among themselves, and we discussed the silence of our parents amongst ourselves. And then we decided that because our parents are observing silence for 1 month, we should give cooperation to them. So, and we should also observe silence at least for 1 week. So that was the brilliant idea of my elder sister Nalini. So I said, very good, 100%, I agree with you. So both of us, that Nalini and myself, Naren and Digambar, observed silence for 1 week. So for 1 week, the entire household was silent. And there was a period of silence. The maid servant will come and do her job and go quietly. And when she observed us, she would do her job. But my mother and my father, even during that period of 1 month silence, they were active. They would go out for a walk. They would go on the road, and they would even ride the bus. So once they were riding the bus, and they were sitting side by side, and then the people, they were, after a few seats, one person was observing them, and that person was one lady, and that lady is telling to her friend, "Oh, God is so cruel, you see, and look at that couple. This husband is so handsome, and the wife is so beautiful, and both of them are appear to be so much in love with each other. But God is so cruel; He has made both of them dumb." So like that is used to happen, and my mother would enjoy such comments, and then they would come home. And so for 1 month, 1 month they observed silence, both of them. And for 1 week, we observed silence. And during that period of silence, my father, he also, at one point of time, Baba gave him seclusion in the house. So he locked himself in one room. And as I said, my father would serve in the food by plate, putting the plate in front of the door. So those were personal instructions from Baba. And not only to my father, Baba had given different orders to different people. And Baba, it was a test given by Baba. And Baba's disciples and Mandi would obey these orders. So that is how it was. Any other question?
Yes, would you, thank you for that. It's wonderful to see different aspects of how Baba's lovers experienced like the new life or other periods with him. But now could you please share with us some of your personal, what were some of the times when you were with Meher Baba in person that touched your heart most? Please share some of those experiences.
Oh, the such moments which touched my heart most, there are many moments are there. Which one would you like to hear?
All of them.
Okay,
Any of them.
I'll tell you one thing. See, after I passed my examination, and I told you, no, that when Baba was informed this, then he sent the message that I hope that he passes in third class in obeying. Thereafter, I got the scholarship to go abroad and to study in the University of California, Berkeley. And the day was approaching. And before leaving to the US, leaving for the US, I went for Baba Darshan, Guru Prasad. And Baba was seated in the chair, in Guru Prasad. And I went and I had his darshan. And I sat at his feet. And I told Baba that, Baba, the next week or so, I'm going abroad to study in the University of California, Berkeley. Baba said, I'm very happy that you're going. And you remember one thing. when you go there, you visit my centers in different places in US. You are going to Berkeley, California. Go visit my centers in California. And if you happen to visit the East Coast, you visit my centers on the East Coast. And see how my lovers in the West love me. Here in India, you tell others that we are very staunch Baba lovers and we are doing this and we are doing that for Baba. But when you will go to the US, you will yourself find how humble those people are and how totally they are dedicated to Baba. At least you are having the advantage, Baba would say. You are having the advantage of the proximity of my presence. I am at Mehrabad or I am in Guru Prasad and you are able to come and meet me. But look at my lovers in the West. They are away from me thousands of miles. But yet they are so much devoted and they are so much attached to me. They are having so much love. So that you will be able to experience. I said, okay, fine, Baba. Then Baba said that now I give you personal orders. Personal order? Okay, fine. Baba said that please listen to my personal order. I give you my 3 personal orders. I said, okay, go ahead. This is happening in Guru Prasad. Baba is sitting on the chair and I am sitting on the floor in front of Baba. Baba said, my first order is you do not smoke cigarette. I said, fine, yes. My second order is, Baba said, you do not drink. Then the third order, Baba said that my third order is, do not touch any girl with lustful intention. These are the 3 orders, Baba said. And now Baba said that I am giving you the 4th order. I said, how many orders he is going to give me? 2 or 3 orders already is given. He has already tied me completely. So what is the 4th order? And Baba said, here is my 4th. My 4th order is, you should write a letter to me every 15 days. So that was the 4th order of Baba. And armed with these 4 orders, I landed in the US. And that was in the month of February, 1959. And I landed in New York and I was received by Baba lovers, Fred and Ella Winterfeld from New York. And they were my hosts. And they hosted me for 1 day, or a couple of days. And they put me on train to California because I was to go to Berkeley for studying. In those days, I said that let me travel by the train. So I took a train from Pennsylvania station. And it went all the way. The old dome liner, I hope it is still there, dome liner. There's a two-level train. You sit on the first higher level and there's a dome and you are able to see the scenery all around. And the train is planned in such a way that during the daytime, it travels to the scenic part. During the night time, it travels to the parts which are not that scenic. So very lovely train. So after a couple of days, 2-3 days of that train journey, I reached San Francisco. And I get down at the railroad station. And who is there to receive me? Fred and Ella Winterfeld. Because Baba had written letter to them that Digambar is coming. You receive Digambar and see that he is placed properly. Baba wrote letter to San Francisco, Berkeley area. Baba wrote letter to Los Angeles that Digambar is coming. You take care of him. Baba wrote letter to New York and also to Myrtle Beach that Digambar is coming. Take care. So I had no worry. So as it is, I am careless, But I said it's okay. So they came at the airport, they received me, they took me a couple of days in their house and they put me on the train. And the train crossed all along across the United States, right from the east coast to west. And I went and I got down from the train, Fred and Ella were there. So they took me in the car and took me to their house. They fed me the lunch and then took me to the campus, University of California, Berkeley. And they took me to the international house. There I used to stay. I stayed there in international house. And in the international house in Berkeley, every 15 days I would write a letter to Baba. So first I was so excited and I was so happy that I wrote long letters to Baba. This time the scenery of California and the beautiful, places which I visited, the Yosemite Valley and so many other places, the Nepal Valley, so many. And how nice the people are and how helpful they are and like that. And last two sentences would be, Baba, I'm studying, my studies are going on well and I'm keeping good. Because here Baba had specifically instructed me that you must write about your studies and about your health in your life. So every 15 days I used to write a letter and send it to Baba. So in the beginning, these letters were very long letters, 4 or 5 pages describing the scenery and the hospitality and so on and so forth. But after some days, I said that I felt that I am writing the same thing again and again. So the length of the letters became small. So instead of 4 pages, it became 3. 3 became 2. 2 became 1. And in one page letter, even the length of the letter is stands. Because what was the most important? Baba, my studies are going on well, and I am obeying your instructions. I am following your orders. So these are the most important sentences. So every letter that used to have must have these 2 lines. So after a few months of writing these small letters to Baba, I received a reply from Baba while I was staying in international house. And what was the letter written by Baba to Eraj? Eraj had written that Baba is very pleased, Digambar, that you are following his instructions to write to Baba every 15 days as instructed by him. But when we have seen the last 4 or 5 letters, which 4 or 5 months or 5, 6 months letters which are sent by you, we have noticed that you are writing the same material again and again. So we are wondering whether you have written one letter and you have taken out Xerox copies of those letters and sending the Xerox copies every month. So, because you see, I began to think that Baba is all knowing. Baba is omniscient. He knows everything. He knows our thoughts before they enter our mind. So he must be knowing what is happening to me. So why ask me to write again what is happening to me and how am I doing studies and all that? So this is how the brain works. But then I returned after studies from US, and when I met Eraj and I met Bhau, and then they said to me that Digambar, we were so happy that you were writing to Baba, and we were reading those letters to Baba. So then it struck to me that probably Baba wanted the Mandali also to know what is happening with. And that is the reason Baba was very strict in telling me to write letter to him every 50 days. And he wanted to ensure whether I was following his orders or not. Most important orders that not to drink, not to smoke, not to drink, and not to touch it. And when I came back from the US, Baba was in Guru Prasad. And again, Baba inquired that how was your studies and how is it, as if he did not know. He knew everything. But all right, so when Baba had asked, I told him. And Baba said, oh, very nice. And you have followed my instructions. You had obeyed my orders. And you have returned the letters every 15 days. I'm very happy to you. I am very happy with you, Digambar.
Okay.
And then he looked at me and he looked at the mandali who were sitting around. And then what did Baba remark? Baba said that Digambar, I am proud of you. So that is how Baba was.
So Gadekar uncle, we have a few more questions that are coming. So they are lined up. So yeah, we will have few more questions. So next question is from Farishta. And before that, just want to tell the participants, if anybody wants any questions or anything, they can raise their hand. So the instruction to raise their hands. So Angela has already sent it on the chat. So you can follow that to raise your hand. So we have few questions lined up. And so Farishta here. Farishta, you can ask.
Jai Baba, Doctor. It's joyful to
Jai
have you.
Baba Farishta.
Thank you. Yes, Jai Baba. If I may, I would like to bring you back to the time of your grandparents. You mentioned that they were one of the very few fortunate souls who actually heard Meher Baba speak. And I was wondering if you might share with us any memories, impressions that they might have shared with you all later on with your father or with yourself about that period and Baba speaking, how and where they heard him speak and what was that like?
Oh, unfortunately, I did not meet my grandparents because they had passed away before I was born. But they had come in Baba's contact way back in 1923 or so, when Baba shifted to Mehrabad. Baba established Mehrabad in 1923 when he came from Manzile Mim to Mehrabad. So around that period, they came in Baba's contact, and that is how the contact started. And during those days, I remember only one thing, that Baba was already known as Sadguru Meher Baba. So people in the surrounding villages would recognize Baba as Sadguru Meher Baba. And they would come for Baba Darshan. And these darshan programs, regular darshan programs, would be held probably on every Thursday. Because Thursday, according to the Hindu religion, it is the day of Guru. It is Guruvar. Guru is the master. So Thursday is the master's day. So on Guruvar, every Thursday, around afternoon or so, Baba Darshan program would be held. And it is during that period, probably, that my grandfather came in Baba's contact during one of such darshan programs. And my father might have accompanied my grandfather. And at that time, my father was going into school. So that was in the year, say, around 1900 and maybe 1924, around 1924 or so. So that was probably my father might have heard Baba speak, but I don't recall if he had, if he told us regarding Baba's voice and how his voice was. That I don't recall. But probably because he had come in Baba's contact before Baba started observing silence. Any other question?
Yeah, we have a few more. So one comes from Jeff. So Jeff has this thing. Jeff has a question. So Jeff, over to you.
Yes, Jeff. Jai Baba,
Okay.
Jeff.
Yeah.
We can see you.
Nice to see you. I was wondering, would you share some memory of when you were a child being with Baba?
Oh, my memory as a child with Baba. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
See, when I was a child, I was very chubby and I was very plump and very playful. So whenever Baba would visit our house, then he would ask, "Where is Digamba?" So my mother would bring me and put him in front of Baba. And then Baba would pick me up and put him in his lap. And then Baba would play with me, taking me in his lap. And then he would caress me and he would pinch my cheek and he would tickle me behind the ears. And that is how Baba was. Baba would play with me. Later on, when I grew up gradually, uh, Baba continued to love me. And when I was about 7, 8 years old or so, we were staying in Solapur. And whenever Baba used to visit our house, he used to play with me. And he used to play with me these game with the hands. Baba's hands were so delicate and fingers were so long and slender and so soft. And then he would play with his hands with me. He would tell me, "Digambar, come here." And then he'd hold his fingers like this. And he would say, "You catch my middle finger," catching the middle finger. So he would hold his hand like this. And then I would go and catch. And invariably, I would fail in catching his middle finger. And Baba would say, "Oh, I have defeated you," something like that. And he would love me. He would give me a kiss on the cheek, or he would tickle me behind the ear, and he would sit me in the lap. And then another game he used to play with me was with the hands. His hands were so slender, and he would do this hand like this, closing one hand and opening the palm, and then alternate like this, like this, like this, and then twirling the fingers. That you must have seen in the film how Baba used to twirl. So like that, so many memories are there. So just a few I wanted to share. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we have another question that's coming from Chris and Ann Parker. So, yes, Chris and Ann.
Oh, Chris and Ann. Jai Baba, Chris and
Jai Baba, Dr. Gadikar. Let's see.
Oh, so good to hear your voice. Chris.
Yes. Could you share a memory of the time that you were waiting for Baba's car by the gate? You and a friend were waiting for Baba's car to show up. Can you share that story?
Oh, that's a long story. That was Baba's visit to Pandharpur. It's Baba's visit to Pandharpur. And you see that it goes back to the Baba's Darshan program in September 1954 in Ahmednagar, Padia Park. And at that program, Gadge Maharaj had come for Baba's Darshan. And in that program in Ahmednagar, public Darshan program, Gadge Maharaj requested Meher Baba to visit Pandharpur. And Baba said, "Yes, I shall visit Pandharpur." So this was in the September 1954. And Baba visited Pandharpur in the month of December 1950. And in the month of December, Baba chose the day on which there is annual fair of the deity of Pandharpur. And that is Lord Vithoba. Pandharpur is a very holy place in Maharashtra. It is the Varanasi of Maharashtra. In India, as Varanasi is the most famous and most holy place, in the same manner, in Maharashtra, Pandharpur is the holiest place. And that is the abode of Lord Vithoba. And Vithoba is the incarnation of Vishnu. And Vishnu is, one of the Trinity, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Mahesh the destroyer. So this there is a temple of Vithoba in Pandharpur, and there is also ashram and school, and which is run by Gadge Maharaj, which was run by Gadge Maharaj at that time, 1950. And then when this program was held, Gadge Maharaj was present, and he sat near Baba's feet. That was in Ahmednagar Public Darshan program, September. You must have seen that picture also. And during that program, Gadge Maharaj requested Baba to visit Pandharpur. And accordingly, Baba visited Pandharpur in the month. And during the month of December, when Baba was to visit Pandharpur, and we went for Baba's darshan prior to Baba's visit, we went for Baba's darshan to Mera. And when we had Baba's darshan, Baba told us that I am going to Pandharpur. And my father was the district education officer. So he was in charge of all the schools in Pandharpur area. So in one very well-known school, Baba's arrangement was made. And the school ground was reserved for the darshan program, crowd for darshan program. And in the school itself, Baba spent. Baba was to stay. Baba said that I shall stay in Pandharpur overnight. I shall arrive in the evening. I shall stay overnight, and I shall give darshan program on the next day, evening 8 o'clock in the morning. So Baba said that I shall arrive in Pandharpur around 4 p.m. on the previous day. And my father was asked to make the arrangements. My father went to Ahmednagar, Pandharpur, 1 week in advance. He made all the arrangements. And along with our whole family. And on the day of arrival of Meher Baba, myself and my friend, who was a Baba lover from Ahmednagar, his name was Vaman, we said that Baba is coming from Ahmednagar, and this is the road from Ahmednagar to Pandharpur, and this Baba's car will come by this road, and at the entrance of Pandharpur, there is a big gate, ancient gate, that they have in Germany, in every town. The gate where you enter the town. So Baba will pass through the gate, and we shall wait here for Baba. And we shall be the first one to have Baba's darshan. So my friend and myself went to the gate, and there we waited for Baba's car to come. And Baba had said that he would come around 4 o'clock or so. But we said that we should not take chances with Baba because he may come even earlier. So we went there from 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were waiting. My friend Vaman, who was from Ahmednagar and who was working in the office of Aditya Irani, the secretary. So both of us, we were waiting at the gate since the afternoon, or waiting for Baba's car to arrive. We waited and waited, and Baba's car did not arrive. It was 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, and so on and so forth. And the car didn't come. And we were waiting and waiting and waiting. What is to be done? We are waiting for Baba, and Baba has not arrived. So what should we do? But we were firm on meeting Baba at that point of entrance and going along with Baba to the place of darshan in the Solapur, in that Pandharpur village. So we were waiting at the outside gate, but Baba's car did not come. And we waited. So then my friend says that Digambar, we are waiting for such a long time and Baba's car has not come. And now it is time to have a cup of tea. So this temptation was there to have a cup of tea. But then I said, okay, we shall have tea, but let us take turns. First you go and have a cup of tea, come back here. Then you relieve me, then I go and have my cup. So he went first and had his cup of tea and came back. And I went and I had my cup of tea. And then we were waiting here. And after 1 hour or so, we heard somebody tapping our shoulder from behind. He looked back and said, there was one person. He said, you boys, I am watching you for the last 3-4 hours. And you are waiting here. And I don't know from whom you are waiting, but you are waiting and waiting and waiting. Whom are you waiting for? We said to him that we are waiting to receive Meher Baba and take Meher Baba to the place of where he is going to stay and he is going to have his darshan. Give his darshan. He said, what? What you are talking? Are you waiting for Meher Baba? Yes. He said, yes, we are waiting for Meher Baba. That fellow looked at us as if we are mad people. He said that Meher Baba just passed. He just passed and passed through this road and gone away. He has entered already in Pandharpur. I said, how is it possible? How can he go? We are waiting here. We are on the duty, guard duty. How can we miss him? And how did we miss him? He said that when you were having your cup of tea, Meher Baba had passed on. So we were so much shocked, and we were so much disappointed, and we cursed ourselves, and we just slapped ourselves on the cheek, and then we started to run. And that is the fastest sprint in my life. If I had joined the sprint, 100-meter sprint, probably I might have won a prize, 100-meter sprint. And we went there. Baba was giving darshan. By the time the darshan program was already started, and we went there, and like fools, we were standing in front of Baba. And Baba was busy giving darshan to the people, and giving prasad with one hand, with another hand, and they were lying before Baba. After some time, there was some wrist fight. And then Baba looks at Adi and looks at me, looks at the friend. Baba says, why are these people standing here? Oh, Baba, you don't. These are Digambar and Vaman is there, and you had asked, and they are waiting here. You had asked them to wait there. Yes, I did. I had given them that they should wait and to receive me, to bring me here. But where were they? When I entered Pandharpur, they were not there, and I had to come on my own. Then we asked. Then we had no face to show in front of Baba, because that person had already said to us that when you were having cup of tea, Meher Baba had passed. Then Baba was so much unhappy. Baba said that these people, this Digambar and that other fellow, Aman, they are useless people. Who will believe them? And then we were standing in the corner with hands like that. And then Baba said that these people they are useless. I don't want to see their face. And by the time both of us started crying, Vaman is crying and I am also crying. And then she's sobbing and all that. Then Baba looked at us. What does Baba say? Oh, stop this crying. And don't do these dramatics before me. So that was how Baba was. Then later on Baba said that, okay, now you have given you order and you could not follow that order. So it was a lapse on my part. But in spite of that, I forgive you. That was the sign of Baba. I forgive you. So that is what Baba said, that I forgive you. And after that, Baba said, come. And then he called us and then he held us in his embrace. And we did not know when we melted in his embrace. Avtar Meher Baba ki.
So, Gadekar uncle, hope you are not tired. Means there are two more questions that are lined up. So will you be able to take it? There are two more questions that are lined up now.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have one coming from Betty. Betty?
Yes.
Baba, Jai Baba, Dr. Gadekar.
Jai Baba Betty.
I lived in Northern California with the Bay Area group, and I knew the La Dimples family, B and Joni and others, and I heard them. They were so fond of you. They talked. I thought you had lived with them, but maybe not. I wondered if you remembered any times with them when you were at Berkeley.
Oh yes. Those are my one of very fond and very pleasant memories, because that was as per Baba's order. Baba had given me order that when you are studying in the campus, during the weekdays you stay in the campus, and on the weekends you spend your weekends with the Dimple family. So Lord Dimple would bring his car in the International House Friday evening, and I would hop into the car, and Phoebe would be there, and Joni was too small, and then this brother was there, and then Lord Dimple's wife, B Dimple, would be there, and I would hop into the car, and Lord would take me to his home, and that time he was staying in Kentfield, across the bay, and I used to spend my weekends at that house, in the Kentfield. And those were one of my very pleasant weekends. And whenever I used to go there, then we would cook nice meals for me, nice and hot. And then Lord and myself will talk about Baba. And then Trivi would pester me that you tell me more stories of Baba. Then I would share Baba's stories well past midnight.
Oh, nice.
And then we would come, then it was time to go to bed, lights off, like that. So those are one of my pleasant memories.
Lovely.
And
Thank
it is as per Baba's orders. And Baba had also written to another order was that I must write a letter to him every 15 days. So 15 days I would write a letter. And another, like that, Baba had his own first instruction. One more instruction was that not to touch any girl with lustful intent. Not to smoke.
Yes. Oh.
So with Baba's grace, I could follow all the orders. When I came back and met Baba and Guru Prasad, Baba asked me how far I had followed these orders. And I chuckled and I said to myself that he is knowing everything. Why is he asking me? He's omniscient. Then I said to him that Baba, with your grace and with your compassion, I could obey all the orders. That's it.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And there is one more question after this. So we have one coming from Mayor Chand, and this question, I guess this should be the last. Yeah, Mayor Chand. Yeah, over to
It's
you.
the most appropriate question at the last, because Kaka, you know, Gadekar Kaka, your father is attached with Baba's Aarti. And most of the people in present generation did not know about this Aarti. that was written by C.D. Deshmukh as early as in 1938. Baba always used to
Yes.
ask Ramchandar Gadekar to sing that Aarti. And also before singing the Aarti, you just shared 1955 Savas when Baba asked Gadekar Kaka to sing the Aarti. He came through a bushes of thorn and Baba asked the question and Baba take an embrace to him, and then you sing few lines at least of Aarti if you are not so tired. I'll be obliged to you.
So I'm not tired. I shall be happy to sing that Aarti. This Aarti
Because
is
most of
composed by Dr. C.D. Deshmukh, and it is in Marathi, and it goes something like this. Meher Baba Sri Guru Raya Tav Charana Vanduni Pavana Tav Charana Vanduni प्रीतीची फुलवात लावणी ओवाळू आरती अहम भाव कर्पूर दाळुनी अर्पी मन पुष्पा राजसा अर्पी मन पुष्पा ओवाळू प्रीतीने माझा श्री सद्गुरु राणा मेहेर बाबा श्री गुरु राया तव चरणा वंदुनी पावना तव चरणा वंदुनी प्रीतीची फुलवात लावुनी ओवाळू आरती.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much, Gadekar uncle. Everybody is here happy to listen to your experiences. It's been wonderful. And then we have your next meeting that is scheduled for 21st August, Friday, same time, 8:30 p.m. India time. So we all will assemble for that wonderful talk of yours. Wonderful evening, and thank you so much, Gadekar uncle.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Thank you very much. So kind of you. And I am really grateful to all of you for your patient listening, because it has been long time that you have been listening to me, and you might have been very much tired. Jai Baba.
No, we are not tired. We are hope you are not tired, because it's been long, like we were speaking more than almost more than 1.5 hours. So we were just worried that
No,
hope you are not tired. Thank you so much.
After a couple of weeks, we shall meet again.
Yes, that is 21st August, Friday, same time.
Okay, fine. Jai Baba. Jai
Thank you
Baba
so
to everybody.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba.
Avatar
Meher
Jai
Baba
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
And Meher Baba ki jai.
ki jai.
Dr. Gadekar.